All right, so we're just gonna jump right into this, because if you're here, you clicked on this because you're interested in how to invest your gifts for the highest leverage point for the restoration of humanity and to include yourself. So remember, in order for you to perform at optimal level, especially as an empath, your electromagnetic field needs to be fueling and overflowing. You are meant to be overflowing with energy. And that's how you're the most valuable on the planet. That's how anyone is the most valuable. The stronger your electromagnetic field is, the more you tune the matrix to you. If your electromagnetic field is weak, you are tuned to other people's frequency. So activating a very strong resonance within you means you have to feel trust with your reality. You have to feel trust with your own power as a creator, your own power to make decisions, which if you listen to that other video, you know that's a strong weakness for a lot of empaths, is to be able to actually know what they want. So really, if you're thinking about, if you want to invest your gold, which is your empathic abilities, for the highest leverage point of the planet, I want to give you 6 tips to do this. Now, this is not going to be a super long video. It might be in 2 parts. It just depends on how long I go. But I just want to give you the cliff notes to my 6-week abundance training course, because I know I've had a lot of people saying you're interested in it, but you're just not quite sure if you're ready to invest. And so I want to give you the cliff notes, because what you need more than anything is the mindset shift. You need to realize that if you approach yourself from the perspective of the lack matrix, from the program of the lack matrix, like, oh, I need to start my own business and have a Facebook page and start doing marketing. Unless you really want to do that, that's probably not what you need to do. That'll drain your energies and drain your gifts, and you know that more than anyone, because when you're focused on something that doesn't feel good, and for a lot of empaths, being online all the time does not feel good. If that's you, then that's probably not the place for you to go, at least not yet. So I want to give you 6 tips. And these are all from my these are basically the 6 weeks of my 6-week abundance training course. So number 1, and you've all heard me talk about this so much, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it is so essential. And this is commit to the win-win-win. So if you want to invest your gold, your empathic abilities, in the abundance matrix, you've got to commit to the win-win-win, because the abundance matrix is the foundation of it, is the win-win-win. Nothing is sacrificed. Not your body, not your mind, not your heart, not yourself, not the other, and not the planet. All of us is included, because the abundance matrix means we are thriving, not just surviving. Now remember, the lack matrix was created in survival. It's when the heart broke, the human heart shattered, and the mind took over so we could survive. And so this is not about going to war with the mind. It's just about getting our hearts back, our hearts fully back, and getting the mind behind us, working for us, not mastering us. So committing to the win-win-win is breaking up with the lack matrix. This is a death. You are literally dying to your old way of being and becoming something new. And in order to do that, we have to dissolve our pride, because in the lack matrix, we are so deeply programmed with this idea that we have to prove our worth, that there's not enough love, that only some people can get love, because there's not enough of anything and no one's ever enough. And so only the people who are worthy of love and perform the best or only the people who make themselves worthy are able to get love. Only the people who do all the right things. So in the lack matrix, when how it was created is in lack. So the whole system that we've been in for a really long time, that hustle work system, is very much steeped in lack. It's that whole idea that I'm earning my worth. I'm working harder than anyone else, so I should make more money than anyone else. It's such a backwards way of thinking, because the way that the natural flow of the universe works is that you resonate at a certain frequency, and that frequency picks up a signal, or sends out a signal, which then makes the matrix reflect back to you that signal. So working hard doesn't make sense. What actually makes sense is being as vibrant and balanced and as we possibly can, as powerful as we possibly can, so that we can have reflected back to us a matrix that is vibrant and healthy and powerful and thriving. So committing to the win-win-win means putting your needs in the equation of everything you create. You do not sacrifice your heart. And that is the main thing that was sacrificed in the lack matrix. People sacrificed their ability to feel other people. And that's where that whole saying is, it's not personal, it's business. It's because if you're making money and you put a corporation behind it, then it's not personal at all. You can do whatever you want because you're not feeling the other person. You're not feeling the consequence of it. You're just putting whatever needs you have, whatever needs you're prioritizing. In this case, it's the mind, because the mind needs a lot of money to feel secure, because the mind can't trust manifestation or trust how anything works because it's only based on the past. The mind can only draw from the past, from knowledge of things that have happened in the past. And it's usually tuned into trauma that's happened in the past that doesn't want to happen again. And so it has to create these ideas, these false ideas of security. So the most important thing to understand about the lack matrix is it's insecure at its very core. It's run by narcissists and it's insecure at its very core. So people who are choosing the win-win-win, we are literally lighting up a different grid on the planet. There's more and more and more of us doing it a different way. And the win-win-win is the foundation of that grid. Nothing is sacrificed. And certainly not the other, ourselves, the other, or the planet. So think about that as you're shifting. And you even think about, oh, maybe I'm thinking of life coaching, or maybe I'm thinking of mentoring. Are you including yourself in that? Is that truly your most authentic desire? And really listen to that. Do you want to be on the phone all the time? Do you, really listen to what your desire is and what you have a heart for. And we'll go into that in a minute. Number 2 is identify what your genius is. And I'm not going to say much about this other than your genius is what you have observed as an empath. And in that first video I did, you heard me talk about how we can read a room and how we didn't turn our heart off. That's what we have, that the lack matrix is lacking, is the heart, discernment. We can tell how other people feel. We know what is not a win-win-win, because if it's affecting everyone in a negative way, it is not a win. And so by just the very nature of having our hearts, you've come here and you've been programmed into lack, and you've been witnessing something your entire life, and you've most likely got a very specific thing that you've been tuning into your entire life, and it's probably connected to where you were wounded. And as you've been overcoming your programming, you've been breaking free of the lack matrix, and that is the trail that you're leaving for other people. That is your genius, because it's something that you've tuned into your entire life. You've been feeling, you feel all the layers of the BS around it. You feel how deeply people get trapped. And we all have a different version of this. And there are going to be people that need what you learned. When you can leave those tools behind for them, you are investing in abundance, because you're investing in the other. You're giving your pearl of great price and you're giving it to the other. So identify what your genius niche is really just what have you been studying and observing your whole life that you've survived from, because you came in here to get programmed into lack and undo the program with your skills so that then you could overcome the matrix. And then you're giving that, oh, I just dropped my crystal. Then you're giving those codes to the matrix. All right, so number 3, identify your ideal client. And I use the word client very loosely, because the truth is, in the abundance matrix, our terms are changing and they're going to be very different. But client is the word we use now. And actually what I truly think of as our client is those people that we're leaving those crumbs for. Like I just said, whatever your genius niche is, that the programs that you've overcome, that you're going to say, this is how I overcame them. I've been studying this. I know how this works, at least for people like me. And believe me, there are plenty of people who need exactly what you came to overcome. So identifying your ideal client is really identifying where in your past you feel the most compassion towards. Your ideal client is your past self. It's a version of your past self. In terms of the people you're meant to leave your pearl of great price for, that your pearl of great price is the thing that you have been working on your entire life, that you've felt and witnessed and overcome and endured and bared with your heart open, and you've felt it all, even where other people cannot feel. This is your pearl, and it is of great price. So it's really important to know that pearl, you are meant to give it, you're turned to give it to certain people who actually need it. And you know that verse in the Bible where Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine. because they'll just turn around and trample it and then probably trample you. This identifying your ideal client is really getting to tune into your heart and who truly needs that pearl. Who are they? You know intimately because it's who you were in the past. And part of us healing the grid is as we shift from lack to abundance, is we heal the past in order to heal the future, in order to line up to a future that's thriving versus destruction. If we stay in the lack matrix, we self-destruct. It's just not, we pretty much know this. It's unsustainable in every way. It's completely unsustainable and it's falling apart. And that's why it does not make any sense to navigate our new reality based on the programs of the lack matrix. So when you're identifying your ideal client, what you're really doing is identifying the past you that you truly, if you could go back and talk to her or him, give them the pearl that you have now. And the more clear you get about that, the more you can fine tune and hone into who really needs you. And you eliminate a bunch of BS of running through a bunch of hoops and jumping through a bunch of hoops and investing $10,000 in a program that is really doesn't have anything to do with what you're actually wanting. Maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't, but you need to get very clear first about who it is that you want to reach. And then my next tip, number 4, is connect to the network of abundance. So networking, we all know in business, is really important. But in the lack matrix, it's very much connected to sort of fronting and who has the most power and getting connected with people who have the most power. And it's a front game. And again, that's controlled by the mind because the mind doesn't have the ability to discern. So when we do it from the heart, what we're actually choosing to network with is our heart, our fully restored heart. So I think of your client as your ideal client as a version of you in the past, and your network as the future you that's thriving. What does that you feel like? What does the grid feel like that is fully restored to its heart? What do you feel like when you're fully restored to your heart? Connecting to that, and this is the trick, is as an empath, you can emote and feel strongly, and it's almost like a psychic ability. So if when you tune into your electromagnetic field and tune into your network, you're literally in your electromagnetic field sending that signal out. So you're sending it out in the matrix, and it will come back to you. The stronger that signal gets, the faster it'll come back. This is the real online business. And we know the internet is a tool, but it's not meant to master us. And in those lack programs, there's this idea that you have to be online and paying for ads and understanding marketing and all these things that can completely drain your energy. Or you can just tune into the matrix and send your signal out and get a signal back. Just like, again, it's a reflection. The internet is a reflection of what we are. We are that technology. So the highest leverage point we can play is by tuning into how our technology works. So turn your signal on and listen. Tune into the world that we're creating, which already exists, by the way, because every reality exists. So you got to tune into the one you want to experience. What is the reality of your fully restored heart? What is the reality when you trust the people you do business with, when you trust the people you connect with? And what I want to put out there is that, and this is going to be 2 parts because it's almost 15 minutes and I'm not done. So this is going to be a 2-part video. What I want to put out there is that I think instead of having a class or becoming a life coach where you're constantly selling your services, there are already major corporations and businesses that are put in place or that are already have power right now on the grid that are shifting. They're going to have to shift into a more heart-centered, conscious business in order to survive, and they know it. The CEO of Amazon said that. Like, it is just, even people who don't give a shit about consciousness or spirituality or the win-win-win at all, businesses know they have to, or they will not survive, because it's hit critical mass, and the job of a business is to meet the collective need, and the collective is saying, we've woken up enough to realize this way that it's working is not sustainable, and it's screwing people over, it's screwing animals over, it's screwing our health over, it's screwing us over, and we're saying no. So in order for a business to survive, they have to shift. And you may be the perfect match for businesses, helping businesses shift. And there's all different sorts of people in business right now, and especially millennials. A lot of the millionaires and multimillionaires now are 20 and 30-year-olds who are also waking up and who also truly want to move towards the win-win-win, or to want to create a world of thriving. That is our highest leverage point. We got to think outside the box, not just small, like your clients and marketing, but big, like what is my highest leverage point? So for the last 2 points, I'm going to do a second video, but really think about what I've said this far before you even go on to the next video. What is your highest leverage point? This is your gold and you're investing it.